Whew! I think it's important for us to start immediately because we need to pad this episode because I don't know what we're going to talk about.
I don't know what happened in this movie. I'm not even sure how to follow.
I do want to say one thing because I assume we're going to say nothing but bad things about I don't know what we could. I'm sure we'll sprinkle in some very complimentary comments, but I want, if Hollywood's listening, can you make a sequel to this movie? Because I was captivated by the two people who I thought were going to be the leads in this movie.
But what were they really doing?
Anytime Tony Danza and Michelle Pfeiffer were on screen together, I was all in. I was like, I want to... But I challenge you to name a character that was on screen less than Michelle Pfeiffer in this movie.
I know.
She was nothing.
No, well, she was the struggling actress or startup actress, I guess.
You're talking about her character or her in
real
her
life? Character. I'm talking about her character. And in real life, this was like her first role. I think it was Danza's first role. It was a lot of their firsts, right?
It was Robert Wall's first role too in a movie. And why he was he like a 40-year-old high school student?
Yeah, so I have a note before I took in like exactly who the characters were, and which you really don't get to know them all that well. Nope. But I was like, because there's the first, let me review my notes again.
Wow.
Yeah, so there's the first scene where we meet the policeman, and they're like aggressively attacking the kid who like egged the house. And it's this group of kids that are like on the floor in front of, and then it's this guy who looks, I said, is this somebody's dad?
He's so
somebody's
old.
Dad got in trouble with them?
And maybe he's not old because I think of, I was about to say he was one of the best parts of Tim Burton's Batman, but that was just wall to wall great people, but he was great in that movie and he was so funny. And then he disappears like 2/3 of the way through Batman, which made me upset because I really liked his character. But he looks the same age.
Yes, that's
playing
the thing.
like
He
a
looks
seasoned
old.
reporter in Batman, which was only, I think, 7 or 8 years after this movie.
It's funny because Tony Danza and Michelle Pfeiffer look like even Fran Drescher looks like a fresh-faced baby,
Yes.
Tony Danza's got those big brown eyes. You could tell it's before he even knew who Mona was,
right.
And so does she. Michelle Pfeiffer looks great. She's got these very poised little Michelle Pfeiffer looks that you can see she's starting on. But what they have to do, the two of them and their characters with this movie, I don't know. Aside from...
Because he doesn't even interact with the rest of this gang that he is part of.
Is he a part of it?
Yes.
Is that what part of it is?
If he did not wear that jacket, I would not have known that he was part of this gang.
So who...
Oh, please
are they a high school
about this movie? I don't know, Jamie.
Are they a high school group? And now what?
Well, yes, because she asks him if he went to the homecoming dance without her.
But is it?
But I mean, I guess you can go to a homecoming dance if you're not in school. But don't you have to go with someone that's in school?
Yeah, but how weird is the whole school thing? So
and when does this dance take place? 2 a.m. I don't know time-wise.
The timeline is crazy. The timeline is crazy. And I feel like these cops are on the beat for like 24 hours straight.
And they're usually the only two cops in Hollywood, I think.
What about when the one is trying a mustache on his face? Because he wants to know what...
I can only imagine. There were several times where I'm watching this movie going, did they just say, like... do whatever you want, talk about whatever you want, talk over each other constantly. In most scenes, there are 4 people talking at the same time.
Yeah. My thinking was maybe, except for the scenes that they shot with Tony and Michelle, did everyone just get really high and they were like, all right, rolling. And then it doesn't look like Tony Danza. I don't think he's ever touched pot in his life. And Michelle Pfeiffer, I don't know.
It seemed weird to watch Tony Danza take a sip of beer. I was like, this even seems weird.
Yeah, but it was out of a weird bottle, too.
Oh, like
a weird
one of those
shaped beer bottle.
like Mickey's or what's the Jamaican beer? What is that stuff? Red Stripe.
Oh, Red Stripe. Yeah.
But maybe that's the type of bottles they had in 1965.
We do say many times that so I wasn't sure if this was supposed to be like a little bit scary because they keep talking in the beginning about it being Halloween. Right? And there's only one part that you see anyone. No, there's two times. You see a girl in a little Red Riding Hood costume that's very random. And then at the end, there's the two African-American guys that are trick-or-treating. That are like adult men
I didn't even
trick-or-treating.
I didn't even notice
it's somewhere toward the end, middle, I don't know, sometime in this mishmash of scenes.
Yeah.
Very
late in the movie, there's two guys sitting on a car, and the one guy goes, "Man, Halloween's over." And I was like, who the fuck cares? You haven't even talked about it since the beginning of the movie.
No, but it's a thing. They keep talking about it. It's Halloween.
And who has
night.
a school dance on Halloween? Nothing makes sense about.
Well, and it's strange. It's a school dance, but it's also like who's the board of old people? Like, there's a group of just like 6 or 7 like older men, and I think it's just men that are at is it a pep rally that they're all at, or a talent show?
Elderly people out at a pep rally to give speeches, and most of the students kind of seem into it. Like, they're cheering for these old people. One guy comes up and he's like, "I'm your weatherman." I didn't understand that. I literally got on tonight and I thought to myself, we have nothing to talk about, and now we have everything to talk about.
So much. There's
nothing
so
about
much.
this movie makes any sense.
Like, we're just going to go out of order because this movie is out of order.
Yeah,
So who's the lady that...
If patrons... Sorry, before we get into this...
Go ahead. Sorry,
I'm
sorry.
Thank you, patrons, because you're the only people getting this, and this content will never be heard by anyone else, which might be a good thing.
Wow.
If you have not seen this movie, I don't know that I'd recommend seeing it. But understand that there is no plot.
If you're going to watch it.
Right.
Yeah.
I kept looking at my watch going, I'm a half hour into this. I don't know what's happening. And
where are we going?
We were an hour into it, and I realized we saw Tony Danza twice. And I went, is he the star of this movie? I don't think so. Because I guess retroactive advertising for this is very misleading. If you look at the DVD cover or the VHS cover, it's Tony Danza and Michelle Pfeiffer really big on the front and nobody else. And they're probably the 7th and 8th billed actors in this movie.
And again, what exactly they have to do with the whole plot of this movie, aside from,
they're the romantic, they're just the romantic storyline. It's like a break from the goofiness. They're the only break from the goofiness in this movie.
True. And there is no goofy between them. They're either very seriously talking about their relationship.
Yeah.
Right?
I think that's all they talk about, right?
Yeah. And him going away he's going away and her audition or callback or whatever she has the next day, her screening. But we don't even see, like you said, we don't even see enough of them to think,
I need to
root for their relationship.
I need to take a big drink before we talk about this movie. This was really difficult for me to get through. Like, this was a really tough movie for me to continue watching.
I kept saying the same thing, too. Like, how are we... I kept feeling like it should end. Like, even 20 minutes in, I was like, what are we doing? And then as I neared the end, I thought, how are we going to wrap all of this up? Where do we even begin to wrap any of this up? And it's the
most unclimactic ending because the whole point of this movie is that they are tearing down an old drive-in, which we don't even really see until the last 5 minutes.
Well, to be fair, it's where Michelle Pfeiffer's character works, right?
Wait, what? Is that where she works?
We see it. Yeah, the drive-ins where a lot of the stuff takes place. You just don't see it from the wide angle.
No, they're shutting down a drive-in movie theater. Wait, right?
No, I thought this
are they shutting down that restaurant?
Yeah, I think so.
Holy shit! I thought it was a drive-in movie theater.
No, I think so. I've gathered all of this to just make sense of it for me, because even at the end, there's these. So I think
that's why that surfer guy wants to get one last burger. How did I watch this whole movie? I'm like, when are they going to get to the drive-in?
Come from?
When are they going to watch a movie?
It's like a drive-in that they have, where you pick up food and stuff.
Even knowing that would not have enhanced the viewing.
No, it doesn't. Yeah. Because and here's what I think that I understand about the Hollywood Nights. I think that they
tell me about them.
hang at the drive-in and protect the drive-in to a certain extent, because the two old men that I think own the drive-in, they're like happy about the Hollywood Nights.
Oh, they're super happy. The only people that aren't happy is like this board of suburbanites that I don't think understand who they are. Like, I don't know who these people are.
So there's this lady. I don't know if she's a mom, because
I didn't know if she was a mom or a teacher or what.
Right. First, she hosts this meeting at her house, but it's mostly older people, right? It's but not older, these are their parents. Like senior citizens, right?
Right. I thought at first it was like a neighborhood watch meeting, and then I went, no, all these people are super old. So that's not what this is.
Yeah. But she's talking about protecting the neighborhood and doing better by the neighborhood, and that she just keeps saying it, just like at the beginning, how they keep talking about 1965 Halloween.
Yeah.
She's like, the Hollywood Nights are bad. Whatever we do, we got to get rid of new stop signs and, whatever, new shrubs on the lawn, but we have to get rid of the Hollywood Nights. But then during her, what I thought was like a neighborhood meeting, she shows them plans for new buildings, right?
Well, they're going to tear down the drive-in and
that's for the drive-in.
Build a business complex.
Okay.
Yes.
Because the drive-in is where all the Hollywood Nights hang out and cause all this ruckus. They really just moon people.
They moon people and they throw eggs. It's not like the Bloods and the Crips. They're not murdering people. They're not selling drugs. They're not doing anything.
No. They're not even doing drugs.
No. The pledges seem very apprehensive to smoke weed with those black guys.
How funny was that? And the pledges. So this Hollywood Nights...
Is this a high school gang or a college gang? Because even the pledges looked like they were 25.
Yeah, they looked older. And so they're these... Hold on.
Is that booze or water? Because
no, that was water.
Okay.
But there is booze involved in talking of this movie.
I think it's important.
Yeah, for sure. So the pledges, part of their dare is that they have to get naked and walk around with tires around their privates, but eventually they lose the tires.
Oh, immediately.
Then steal tires from another car.
No, they don't.
Right?
They still have the tires, but those guys think they stole the tires from their car. That's the gag.
Oh, gotcha.
The pledges was the only it was the only time in this movie where I was like, oh, I can kind of cling to this because I know there's a finale. I know that they have a mission. They have to get there. When they popped up, I was like, I felt more comfortable. Like I was watching a real movie.
Because you had, because you had more. Well, and their mission, they're told to go to this radio station that records in Watts, which is it's where the riots were. It's not the greatest neighborhood in LA.
Oh, okay.
And that's where they have to go.
Well,
right?
Jamie, it was 1965.
To put in a request.
Maybe it was great in 1965. Maybe it was,
They made it seem like it wasn't. Remember? Because they were like, we have to go to Watts naked. We can't do that.
Oh, I don't.
Remember?
No. I don't think I listened to anything that was said in this movie.
Well, it was also I think somebody makes a Tony Danza joke at one point.
What?
I think I wrote it down. Yeah.
Like a taxi joke? What kind of Tony Danza joke are you making at this point?
They say Tony Danza.
What?
Yeah, I feel like I wrote it down. Wait a minute.
Is it when they're smoking with those guys?
Maybe.
All right. I don't know.
I don't know why I have so many notes, but I have pages.
You have
of notes.
pages. I took 2 pages of typed notes. And normally I have about 5.
No, I wrote big, and there's a lot of question marks. Like, I would write and then just be like, what?
Oh, I would have sentences where I typed 5 question marks after
What is this? Right.
So
I don't even.
I'll just feel while you're looking around for the Tony Danza joke buried in this movie. I do like. This is the second time, and it wasn't as bizarre in Do the Right Thing, but this is the second time that we've seen a radio station that just has a window that looks out on the street. I thought that was like this radio station is the size of one of those old photo mats. Like, it's really tiny, and that even seemed bizarre. But maybe that was a thing. I don't know.
Supposing it was. I'm guessing, and again, I don't know. I wish I did. Let's say it was.
Yeah, okay.
Let's say it is something. P.S. So it's Tony Danza yellow. At the end, when they present the car all zhuzhed up, you know how they give the one guy that's leaving do they give the guy from Nam that yellow car, or are they just showing him, like, look, when you get back?
I think it's his car that was fixed up, and then the gift from the guys in the gang was that 8-track player.
Oh, okay.
They made a big deal about
that. They play Mamas in the Papa.
There were times where I was like, the soundtrack for this movie is really good. And then I was like, it just sounds like a weird California mid-60s greatest hits sample.
It's like that.
It's so
remember
weird.
when Time Life comes out with those albums?
Oh, yeah.
How Time Life would be like California in the 60s.
Exactly.
That's
what this is. Because I think at one point they played like 4 Beach Boys songs in a row.
Yeah, they did. They played some Beach Boys songs. Yep. And then there was a lot of like the
they call it
singing.
Tony Danza Yellow. The guys call it Piss Yellow first.
Tony Danza calls it Piss Yellow. He makes a joke that it's Piss Yellow, and then the guys go Tony Danza Yellow. I wrote it down.
No, are you serious?
Yes.
Oh, yes. All right. I might have to actually go back and watch that just to see that was a joke in this movie. My God, this movie. And I understand, like, this movie wants to be American Graffiti. Like, it's an American Graffiti ripoff. Like, it's the same deal.
Totally.
And this, this was done in Dazed and Confused, too. Like, Dazed and Confused is like this movie, just a bunch of little things.
You're just following all these random people around.
But at least, like, with Dazed and Confused, like, it all seemingly, it comes together in the end, and there's a payoff, and this isn't even vignettes that nothing needed to be in this movie that was in this movie. It was weird to watch Robert Wall run around and act like he's about 15 playing a 19-year-old, but really 35. Like, it was very strange.
Totally, I agree on those ages. He does a lot of mooning. He does a lot of, like, silly, like, pranks, kind of.
Oh, and they're all the most generic of pranks. Like, I'm going to stick a potato in a tailpipe. I'm going to flood a toilet. And everybody looks at him as though he's a genius because of these pranks.
He's the best. They put flaming poop on the doorstep of the lady having them. So
it's like a gang of Billy Madisons. It's just, it's ridiculous.
But he's their only leader that's doing all the pranky stuff. The rest of them will support him, but they don't really.
Yeah, I'm wondering what
the 2 guys.
What's this gang all about? Like, what's their deal?
I think they're just there. Well, that's why, again, in the beginning, this car drives by. There's an old lady on a bus stop, and the car has a hand, right? Like a fake hand in the trunk. And I thought, again, Hollywood, the Hollywood Knights, they must go around and, like, torment the people of Hollywood. Or make believe that there's murders happening that are not, because there's got to be some, and that nothing like that ever
Does that old lady
out.
even react to what's going on? Because after that scene, I went, did she even know she was on camera? Like, did she even know that she was supposed to, like, freak out or something? Because she doesn't even get off the bench. It's nothing.
She makes a weird, uncomfortable face as if, yeah.
And that's the opening. That is what's supposed to suck you into this movie.
Yep.
And you're supposed to cheer for these guys, which was very bothersome for me.
Well, that's the thing. Like you said, you mentioned the other two movies. You cared about the character. You got to know. Like all I thought about the one character, and what's his name? Newberg. What the hell's his name?
Oh, the main character? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was a weird name. It sounded like
Newberg Titus
German
or something.
Yeah, it was a weird something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. And he's just like a jerk
he's
in
a
it,
creep.
you know.
I wanted his brother to beat the shit out of him for taking
when his brother comes,
and he
but
never
that's it.
does.
His brother comes looking one time and never
time.
comes back. And when they're like, "Oh yeah, no, he didn't take the car," he's like, "Oh, okay, I guess he didn't."
It was
no.
And also his brother pulls up and he goes, "Guys, don't tell him I'm here." And he like shimmies under the truck.
Yeah.
And hides. And then his brother leaves and he comes out and his friend's like, "Hey, you know your brother was just here looking for you." Like, you just told them you were under the truck. What? And his reaction is, "Was he here? He was here looking for me?" Like, you guys just had this conversation as he was pulling up.
And what are these two cops? Are they completely useless?
Yes, that's the joke.
They are so mean to that one kid I don't know if he's like the youngest Hollywood Knight. He's like the teenage kid that they keep busting for having cigarettes because I guess he can't smoke.
Yeah, they're so mean to this kid. Like, why are you hassling this 12-year-old?
But they don't mean at all to any of the, like, he can't even handle any of the Hollywood Knight guys.
It is useless. These, and yeah, one cop is fat and one's super skinny. And there is one part that I thought was great when there are several scenes of them racing in the streets that have served no purpose in this movie.
No.
But there's one part where the cops pull them over in the street and the skinny cop gets out and then everybody drives away, including the cop, the car that he was in. And he just stands there and the scene ends. It's just random scenes of nonsense stitched together. And it doesn't create a movie. And the big fat cop's name is Bimbo, too.
Bimbo. Yep, his name is Bimbo. Bimbo. Yeah. And his partner draws mustaches on his face with Sharpies. Yeah, it's...
And that's the running gag. Like, how would I look in a mustache? He asked him like 5 times, "Do you think I'd look good in a mustache?" Okay, 5 different scenes he asks him this question.
They don't have much that they talk about. They have limited conversation. Every character, or every character has a limited, like, what about the nerd guy? He always just keeps stumbling upon that one lady who just keeps having sex with that one man. Like, what are those two about?
I don't know. Because when she is at her home for that meeting, that guy is sitting at the piano and he's playing stuff.
And that's not her home that they go to later.
It's not. And that's not her husband. I was like, oh, this is her husband. She tells him. And why are the cops in the kitchen cursing at each other? I don't understand. This movie is ridiculous. I love how the one cop makes up a theme to Lawrence of Arabia.
Yeah. The guy's like, it doesn't have any words. He's like, yes, it does. It's like, Lawrence of Arabia, British Beatlemania. Oh, he didn't start the fire.
That makes as much sense as that Billy Joel song, though. I don't even know. Go ahead. If you have anything to talk about, go for it.
Well, I'm trying to put trying to organize some of the characters at least. So as we established, Michelle Pfeiffer and I don't even know what their names are, and Tony Danza are just this couple that we see every now and then, and they're struggling with their relationship.
Right.
Tony Danza wants more time with her. She is wanting to be an actress. He's going away to somewhere next year. He's not going.
I think he's going to college. Right?
Okay. So he's going to college. and they want to make sure their relationship is solid. But they're very like, they're strange with each other. She works at this drive-in.
Did you see them as strange? I kind of saw them. That's why I want a sequel. I want Hollywood to get these two together again, because I was kind of into it. Like, it seemed, and maybe it's because of everything else that was going on in this movie.
Yeah.
But that seemed believable to me, and I enjoyed them on camera together.
I would say that they were like, just like you said, the frat guys kind of, or not the streakers, pledges made you feel sort of like, oh, I know what's going on now. I did feel like, okay, good, we're just going to handle these two, because that's really, they are only ever together. Like, she works at the drive-in, but she doesn't really, whenever we're there, you don't see her.
No, well, there were
because we're there a couple of times with the Hollywood Nights, and it's not like she interacts with the Hollywood Nights.
There were 2 scenes where they are not with one another. There's a scene, like we said, with the yellow car and the 8-track player with Tony Danza.
Right.
And there's another scene, which I kind of really loved, of her working, and she and
with
her coworker.
Yeah.
And her, like, somewhat sympathetic boss in the background, like, is he treating you badly this time?
Yeah.
And he's watching, like, The Doors on TV or something. I was like, I could get behind this movie. I'll watch this. But it was such a short scene. They are given nothing to do in this movie. No,
except, like I said, it kind of argue here and there. And then he goes...
But not even argue, because it's just like, oh, you don't want me to go to my audition.
They're just trying to figure it out.
But you know I'm
they're
going
not
to college. That's
there's
pretty
just
much
tension.
It. Yes.
There's just tension between them. And he is a Hollywood Night, but he's not involved in any of their shenanigans. When he's not with her, he's at the, like, auto body shop, basically, the mechanic shop, right?
Yes, with
his buddies there.
Who's the guy who's going to Vietnam? Because
I think...
Is it his brother? It's not his brother.
Maybe. I think it's, like, the senior Hollywood Night guy. That's why I don't understand, because why isn't he with these pranksters? Or why are... You know what I mean? Like, and these two, I thought...
First of all, Robert Wall's, like, 48 years old. Like, shouldn't he be graduating out of the Hollywood Nights?
Yeah.
And Tony Danza already said that he is going to college. So why is it such a big deal at the end of the movie that the one guy who's been inconsequential other than he's going to Vietnam throws his jacket to the band geek?
Yeah,
and that seems like a huge deal.
I don't know. Exactly.
Well, I guess, you know what? It is Halloween. They still have an entire school year to go. And I guess he got drafted. I don't.
Well, he is nervous about going.
On. We should have researched our history. I should watch that 18-hour Vietnam documentary before I watch this movie. I'd really know what was happening in 1965 Halloween.
It still wouldn't help you with this movie, I don't think.
Oh.
I have to be honest. Because we also so we've got Michelle and Tony, and kind of where they lie. Then there's what is his name? It's such a weird name. It's like Newberg.
I didn't even write it down.
Something. Newberg something. He's sort of he is who in the movie seems like the Hollywood Nights leader.
Yes.
He's like the prankster that does most of all of the pranks and is the one causing all this havoc.
And maybe he is the leader, because he does cause all the havoc.
But they never acknowledge him. Like Tony Danza's character and the Nam guy, they never acknowledge him or talk about, oh, Newberg's going crazy again. Or like...
I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Was Tony Danza and the Vietnam guy ever on screen with Robert Wall?
I don't think so.
So there's a chance that they thought they were making a different movie, right?
One could say that,
you're right in that they don't interact with him, but I'm thinking of the very end of this movie when everyone is seemingly together. I still don't think, because they're still hanging out with that old guy talking.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I don't even know that Michelle Pfeiffer and Tony Danza knew what movie was being made.
Well, they thought it was a love story of sorts, a timepiece. But no, there was this lunatic. Well, okay, so I don't know who there's two other members of this Hollywood. Well, there's
a guy with glasses and a guy without glasses.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's pretty much them.
Right.
And there's nothing really exciting. They're just there every now and then when the Hollywood, when he needs someone to say your brother was here.
Yes.
But that's pretty much the extent, right, of this gang.
Yeah, I guess. And then the pledges.
Then there's the pledges.
It's funny, too, because the one guy's like, hey, did you hear there's only 4 pledges? Back when I was pledging, there was like 20 of us. Like, really? Because there's 3 of you.
Yeah. Where'd the rest of you go?
Yeah.
All right. So then there's also Fran Drescher's character, who is Newberg's girlfriend, or later becomes a girlfriend. She's at the pep rally with another boy.
Every time Fran Drescher was on screen, I was glad when we got lengthy scenes with Fran Drescher, because most of the time I was like, is that Fran Drescher or is that not? Because she's not.
Yeah.
She hasn't reached the nanny status.
No.
Of course.
Well,
there's enough. No, that's what I mean. Once she gets going, like if they give her more than a line or two, then the nanny comes in.
Well,
but early on in this movie, when she's the only girl by the pool with her top on, I was like, I'm not sure if that's Fran Drescher. I couldn't really tell.
It's very weird. In the beginning of the movie, when we first see her, and there's a group of girls kind of naked bathing, and of course, Newberg is filming them or taking pictures of them.
Taking pictures. He is such a weird... And that's the other thing. Like, if it's a movie about kids in college and they're clearly 18, 19, 20 years old and they're acting like super pervs, I'm not saying I can give him a pass, but he's too old to be taking pictures.
I know. And then hanging out later in the girls' bathroom and recording the girls' gossip conversation.
What was that about? My favorite thing about that scene is right when he crawled out from under that truck. And there was no scene in between. It literally cut from him crawling out from under the truck to him in a stall in the girls' bathroom. Was the very next scene.
When did he even get here? And what bathroom are they in? Because these girls also... And
where did he get that recording device?
Exactly, that he later uses. So there's two... Okay, so wait. So Fran Drescher is doing...
we shouldn't gloss over her.
Well, she's doing this naked sunbathing. She's not naked, like you said.
Right.
But she's doing these facial exercises. And that's one reason why it's first misleading. Like, is that Fran Drescher? And then what the hell is she doing?
Right.
And then again, she seems to be, but then there really is no girl group. She seems to be maybe the leader of her own girl group. There's a group of girls that she takes to what she calls this hidden spot that's just under a tree
it looked like a park,
a yard,
public park where they have to go to take their clothes off.
They're changing.
But why? They were just in a pool that was clearly in somebody's house. Couldn't they just change there?
I don't know.
I know
the guys are up in the tree.
I know it's another reason to get her friends to take their tops off and for her not to, but it just... It
was weird. Then there's these other 2 brunettes, the ones that that he catches, gossiping and records it. They pull up into the drive-thru and they're yapping about something. It's just weird. They yap about something and then they're gone. But then 4 scenes later, they're back at the drive-thru in the cars yapping again.
Yeah,
and
they literally back out because he says something like, "Oh, you want to hear me sing that song?" They're like, "He's gonna fart."
Yeah.
And they're putting the windows up on a convertible, and then they drive away. And you're right. The next scene, they're there again. This movie is edited nonsensically. Also.
Oh my god.
Those girls are pretty funny with the big frizzy hair.
Yeah.
I enjoyed a lot of the haircuts. I thought Michelle Pfeiffer's hair looked very 70s to me. Some of the outfits made sense for the 60s, but other outfits I thought, it feels like this is a 79 sort of thing. There were a lot of people wearing bell bottoms. I thought that was more of a 70s thing than 60s, but maybe I'm
Well,
wrong.
I think it's a little both.
Okay.
I think it comes off
Right.
I think it works for the 60s
Okay.
still.
All right.
Yeah. So, yeah.
I mean, it was all about the cars, though, Jamie. And if if there's one thing in movies that could not bore me more, it's cars. And
it's
people
the cars.
talking about cars.
The lead sled. I think they call it that at one point but there's supposed to be a car show that they're allegedly.
Wait, what?
Like for
At
a
the
minute
drive-thru?
for a minute. No, at one point during one scene, Newberg says something about how he's getting all the cars ready for the car show. This car show never really happens. Just like you said, they drag race, but they don't really drag race. And then
what's with those Asian dudes? Those Asian guys.
Yes, who were they?
And that made me think of Is It Better Off Dead? Is that the movie
where
he pulls out and there's two Asian guys and the one's doing like a Howard Cosell voice and they drag race, and then I was like, is that lifted from this movie or did that happen in another movie? Because this would be a very obscure reference.
Very, very. Yeah, well, that's another thing. I had never heard of this movie.
Me neither.
And after watching it, I'm kind of glad I did.
I read a lot about how it became more of a cult movie because very early on in the run of HBO, very early on in HBO's career, as though HBO is a person, they had the rights to this movie and they played it all the time. Like late at night, they would play this movie all the time.
Well,
so
I
people
see
got
that
because
it's like a little crazy little sex romp. Because again, all right, so the lady we talked about this, the lady that wants to have the Hollywood Knights leave her neighborhood,
right, to restore order to this town, I guess.
Right. She keeps trying to have sex in the back of her car with, I don't know who this guy is.
There is so much car sex in this movie. It was.
But theirs is like
infuriating. Like it was like,
come
on.
Their
Isn't
car
there
sex
anywhere
happens.
Else you could go?
Right. Their car sex happens like every other scene they're in together is because he's like at one point he's eating her box in the car,
God.
and that kid comes over.
They have a lengthy conversation too. He's talking about and this kid, this band
the
kid,
nerd
who
kid,
again is as old as Robert Walt. Like this is not a high school student. There's a talent show at the pep rally.
After the pep rally, before the dance.
This is not how schools work.
No. And there's also part of the talent show, I think, spills out onto the dance because they have like singers, and some of the singers, like, so they have like a doo-wop group that sings at the dance, but they're horrible. They have terrible voices.
But everybody
I think
is, and this is why I was confused because I'm like, this is a dance, but they're treating it as though it's a concert because everybody's right up against the stage, staring at this group, jumping around. I'm like, that's not what you do at a school dance.
No.
Like even if you have a live band, they're not famous, right?
Yeah, but you also don't have the weatherman come to do a speech at your pep rally. It's just weird.
And what's with that weatherman's toupee? Like at the end of that movie,
know.
His hair falls off and I'm like, am I supposed to find this funny? Because I don't. At this point, I'm not amused.
There's a lot of goofy jokes too, like that. I think it's the cop that tells him and they follow through with it. Your ass is grass, and I'm the lawnmower. Like they do a whole joke with that.
Yeah, he calls him Officer Lawnmower after that.
Yeah, Officer Lawnmower. Yep. I'm just perusing my notes to make sure I'm not missing anything too deep here. There
were very few times I laughed, but the one time I laughed is when that old man, when he's doing the one-armed violin, and the old man's like, he's using his dick to hold the bow. What? He says it several times.
The old man freaks out about it. And he doesn't get. All right, so wait.
Later, when the cops are in the car and I guess police chief is calling in, he's basically recapping the entire movie for these cops. And then at one point he goes, and then a one-armed violinist was using his dick to hold something. I don't know.
Yeah, that's part of when the Hollywood Knights come and take over the talent show.
But why do they do this?
I don't understand.
Why would you do this if you're a gang? It's not cool.
They come in and they take over they take over the pep rally too. The pep rally is where he comes in and just starts farting into the microphone.
And then the cops assault that band geek. Maybe this movie was great. Maybe we're realizing how wonderful this movie was. No, we're not. It's terrible.
No. Yeah, the band geek has a mom too. You're right. He too is like between 35 and 40 years old. He's got like that streamlined stippler, like that.
Yep.
I'm very much a nerd, and he needs his breather, his inhaler, his puffer. I think he calls it when he gets really nervous. He calls his mom at the end of the movie to tell her, "I'm going to be, finishing my manhood and getting laid,"
and she passes out. She faints.
Yeah.
When he explains what getting laid means to this woman.
She didn't know.
No, she did not know. And I love how he's instantly cool. When he gets that jacket, he puts it on and he takes out his inhaler and like throws it away. And then he's super cool suddenly.
Because he's a Hollywood Knight now. All because he faked a seizure in front of the cop car, right?
Yeah.
Is that what he did?
Yeah, 5 hours before the end of this movie, I think.
That too. Besides that, when they first come across him, he's two things in this movie. He is a band, like he's in the band, and first mom's taking him and he's in like his band outfit. And then later he's going to the band outfit for the pep rally. And then she's driving him again. I'm assuming both pep rally and talent show would happen at the same school, but nay. And now he's going to be in the talent show.
Yes.
And be a magician in the talent show.
Right.
So he's doing two different
things. And also this school has a total of 3 cheerleaders. And did the one forget to wear underwear? What was going on?
What was that? Yeah. Now it's time for the cheerleaders. And 3 girls come out to start cheering. And the audience goes crazy because one girl and the other 2 are like, no, you forgot your underwear. How do you forget?
Isn't that
your
part
underwear?
of the uniform?
And she's shocked. She's like, oh gosh.
Yeah, that's
how does she not
part
feel
of
it?
the uniform, right? Like you have your cheerleading gear, and that's part of it.
I would think.
And you're right.
But
she
didn't
doesn't
have
notice.
Anything on. No, she didn't know as she was jumping around, but the old man did.
The old man, my favorite character in this movie, I guess.
Well, why are they there? There's just this half a dozen senior citizens just sitting at this pep rally on display.
When is all like? What day of the week is this? Like, we never see them get out of school at the beginning of this movie or anything.
No.
I thought it was like a Saturday, but you don't have a pep rally in the gym at school like at 9 p.m. on a Saturday? And why is that one girl dressed as Red Riding Hood? Nothing.
Because of Halloween. Because it's Halloween.
And why does he just has a wolf mask in his car just in case this happens?
But it's just the moment. That's the only. And then again, at the end, the frat guys are hiding in bushes.
Right.
This is before they get to dress and drag.
The pledges,
Or the pledges. Sorry. The pledges are hanging in. They're hiding behind some bushes behind some house. They're getting closer to the DJ, but these kids come out by the bushes. It's not even kids. It's like 3 24-year-old African American dudes have like costumes on, and they're like, "Hey, trick or treat!" And the naked pledges are like, this is ridiculous." And then the naked pledges put on sheets from somebody's backyard, and they think that they're dressed like the KKK.
Well, because the one guy puts like, I guess it's a pillowcase on his head, and it's pointing straight up. And the worst thing about this is right after that scene where they dress as KKK members, it cuts to this doo-wop group. And I'm like, this is the first time we've seen black people in this movie. You cannot butt those 2 things up against one another.
No, but they do. I know. Tony Danza, there is the one mechanic guy, I wrote that down, the mechanic guy that Tony Danza is buddies with that is very, they have a nice relationship. He talks about how everything's changing and
Is this the Vietnam guy?
No, it's one of the older dudes, one of the mechanic dudes.
Okay.
Or maybe he's an owner of the shop, of the drive-in. I don't know. I have the kid.
Yeah, what's the deal with that little kid on a skateboard, too? The first time we see him, he's walking with a guitar case. And, like, Robert Wall stops him, he's like, man, I gotta go practice. I'm like, where are you playing? And he skateboards? Did people also skateboard in the 60s?
Sure, why not? Yeah.
All right.
Sure
I don't know.
What do you think they did in the 60s? What do you
They
think
make
happened?
such a big deal about Back to the Future when he goes back and he breaks off the kid's thing and he makes a skateboard out of it, but I guess that was the 50s. I don't know.
I mean, I can't say for sure, but the kid is very, I don't know if he's a hopeful Hollywood knight. I don't know, but I do know
he doesn't really seem to want,
him.
and he seems too cool for anybody else in this movie.
What does he do? Oh, yeah, then there's the scene, so he does seem too cool for anyone in this movie. There's a scene where, again, the lady who wants the Hollywood Knights to go away and keeps trying to have sex in her car with some dude.
Yeah.
They host some kind of party, and they have some punch. And this is a whole elaborate scene, too. So when she's hosting the party, the Newburgh guy or the Hollywood Knights guys, somehow they have a jacket. They make the caterers come to simply drop off punch. Right?
It's a big, soup kettle full of punch. Because it's a big metal cask full of punch with just foil over the top of it. But you're right. That's what this catering company is delivering to this party.
Yes. And it gets interrupted by Newburgh, who takes it, and he and a bunch of the other Hollywood Knights guys pee into the punch.
Oh, my God.
And then the punch gets served at this party where all these adults are who want the Hollywood Knights to go away. And they sip the punch, and they're like, it tastes weird. And the woman who keeps trying to have sex just keeps saying, it's such a familiar taste. It's such a familiar taste.
I've tasted this before. And the one guy goes, you know what? It's got a little wang in it. What?
The cop says that because they make the cops come. You have to check this.
These cops are everywhere. It doesn't matter where characters are in this movie. The cops are there. And also, the Hollywood Knights also convinced the caterers to then drive their van through the lawn? Because he's like, you don't want to go the long way. And I'm like, they just got off the street. It's right there. I can see it in the shot. He's like, no, cut through the lawn. And
he says the groundskeeper won't be okay with that. And he's like, no, they're putting a new library in there.
The guy clearly, he's like, there's a lot of rose bushes and stuff. I don't think we should drive through there. And I'm like, yeah, also, it's not good for your van. Even if the guy said it's okay, don't do it.
Why would you need to? There's like you said, there's a road right there. Why do you need to? But,
Oh, can we say that they constantly continue to kidnap this band geek? They kidnap him once so that the leader can fart into a microphone, and then they kidnap him a second time because that surfer dude and his surfer girls come around.
That's
and the surfer girls lure him in.
Yeah. Come here, we want to show you something. And he almost passes out when he sees boobs. But they kidnap him, but they're not really that mean. And they even tell him, you're going to be fine. You're fine.
Right.
They basically just blindfold him. And I think that's why one of the other reasons he becomes an honorary knight at the end is because he's kind of been through the night with them.
Right. It's almost because they kidnap him and everything. They're like, we're just going to take your clothes. It's no big deal. Here, sit down. You want a beer? And it did remind me of Dazed and Confused when they paddle that kid with the long hair. And they paddle him, and then they're like, all right, here, have a beer. It's okay. It's fine.
Right.
But And then they leave him alone, though. They drive the naked band guy into the middle of nowhere and just leave him, because that's when he finds that lady again having sex with that dude on a trampoline.
That's so weird. So weird. Oh.
I don't
the first time they're having sex is when.
And is this a dance, or is it part of the talent show? Because we see that doo-wop group, and then it cuts to a little girl singing.
Yeah, like a what? Yeah, I think that's what I mean. I think the dance was part dance, part talent show.
But why did they kidnap the band geek the second time? What did they do then? Like, did they stand? Oh,
that was for the magic show. They needed him for
that was for the one-armed, violin
player.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Man.
Oh man.
And why is Fran Drescher like? She must be an older dude, because that guy she breaks up with looks like he's 45.
Yeah,
too. He's smoking a pipe and has like one of those old man newsy caps on.
He does, and doesn't he make a comment because she's mad that he's not finding everything a little more hilarious?
Right.
And he's like, oh, whoa. He kind of looks down on all of it, right? Let's see. I'm trying to see if there was any. Oh, the cops get hit with eggs at a certain point. The Hollywood Nights, I guess, bite my weenie is a thing that they say. Farts into the mic.
It's just,
the cops get called. Wait,
like
when he does that farting prank?
Yeah.
When he does that farting prank, the cops get called. An old man calls them because there was a guy farting all over the place. You gotta come quick. The guy broke into the pep rally and he's farting all over the place.
Do you think these are the worst cops on the force, and that's why they get stuck with all this nonsense?
They do,
because real cops are doing something out there.
Are actually doing something?
Right.
Oh, Dudley is the nerd guy's name. I wrote that. Let's see.
Dudley? Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Mother, it's Dudley. Yes, you're right. Yeah,
Dudley. Mm-hmm.
It's terrible.
Tony Danza and Michelle Pfeiffer are always just trying to figure out their relationship. They're just trying to figure it out. Oh, he says to her, they're trying to figure out what, this is back to Tony Danza and Michelle Pfeiffer. Yeah. He says, I want to be rich and famous. I'm already good looking.
Yep. I enjoyed that. Way to go, Tony. You're right, by the way. You're spot on.
Yeah, you are. You are very, and in this movie, those almond eyes of his, wow.
Yeah.
Let's see. Turk's car gets, his brother's car gets towed. We talked about that.
Yeah, but again, all of this stuff doesn't mean anything. His brother's car gets towed, which comes to nothing.
Nothing.
The cops never do anything about it. No. His brother never does anything about it. He doesn't even seem to know that the car has been towed.
Or is that upset about it?
No.
Like at first he's like, it's my brother's car. I can't tell him we took it out. Right. And then he parks it. Even when they park it, they're like, guys, this is a tow zone. You can't park there. And he's like, he doesn't care.
I was ready.
It's gone, and I don't know how he gets around.
I like how he said, like, this is my older brother's car. And I was ready for, like, that old man to be like, I'm your older brother. Because the guy who shows up looks younger than Robert Wall.
You're right. I agree. I concur. Tony Danza races two Asian dudes, question mark, is what I wrote.
I don't even think he was the one racing them.
Yeah, he was, because then he gets pulled over and he just like shrugs and gets out of the car like it's not a big deal. Yeah, it was Tony Danza in his yellow car with the engine that's cut out or whatever.
Oh my God. I thought he stayed in that garage for the whole movie.
No, he gets in the car and he races, but not really. And then, like I said, the cops come and they make him get out of the car, and he's not upset about it. He's just like, okay. But then we're on to another scene. I think because now Newberg, or whatever his name is with...
You're really obsessed with this guy's name. I'll find his name.
It was a weird name.
Look it up right now. Hollywood Nights. The Hollywood Nights.
The Hollywood Nights, the movie. So... he likes, the surfer guy comes through the drive-in, and he's got two...
Newcomb Turk. No, Newbomb Turk.
What? First name Newbomb?
Newbomb, yep. Newbomb Turk.
And his brother's also Turk, I guess. Dennis Turk? I don't know.
Dennis Turk.
Oh, boy.
This is great to see these people now. Sorry, I didn't do this research before.
You didn't do this? No?
Yeah. Ooh, there's only an old picture of the guy that lady was having sex with. I hope he didn't die or very young. Oh, no. All right.
Oh, no.
Sorry. I don't know why I'm so interested in these characters now. He lived to be 86. Good for you. Good
for him.
Oh, my God. This movie is terrible.
So we didn't get to another terrible part.
Oh, okay. I thought we hit them all.
No, we did. I just reviewed like pages of my notes, and most of it we've talked about. So, So two weird things. Like I said, there's some sexual stuff in this movie, and there's one girl that's giving one of the Hollywood Knights a hand job. And then his penis gets stuck in the zipper of his pants. Yeah. That's really weird.
Yeah, and what does she say? When they're walking out, she's like, I'm the most moral girl in my high school. It's a weird thing to say to anybody, but that is what she says. And then it gets stuck in his zipper, and he's screaming and yelling. He's like, don't come near me! Don't come near me! Let the swelling go down. I'll be fine.
Well, there's this something happens in the night or in the movie where everyone's trying to get it on, right? Now, Fran Drescher has a fight with her boyfriend, and she just wants to have, as she puts it, fun, music, and pastrami.
Yep.
That was a line. I'm not even kidding.
That's a line from this movie that imagine Fran Drescher saying that line when she's, 18 probably in this movie? I don't know.
Now imagine this. So she is starting to get it on with the Newberg guy in some other car that he has, I guess. Yep. And she gets in the back, and now, like you said, the more she talks in a scene, the more the nanny voice comes out. And she's in the back of the car, and she's like, come on, I'm all hot and bothered back here. Come on, Turk, come on. And he blows his load a little early. In the front seat,
and she's like, by himself. Like,
he's just he's just like, and he's like, sorry, I can't. And she's like, why, I'm back here, I'm hot and bothered. Did you come?
Yep.
And she keeps yelling it, and it gets more and more. Turk, did you come? Did you already come? You're so immature. I'm back here.
The more annoying she is, I love his response too when he's like, I'm glad I came. I'm glad. Yeah. I'm glad. I'm so happy about this. But you're right. Like, as the scene goes on, I was like, oh my God, this is the most Fran Drescher I've ever heard her. And this is the first thing she's probably ever been in. I love how I guess she's wearing, just her bathing suit under her clothes. Well, she's wearing a weird, gigantic jersey.
When she dumps her boyfriend because fun, music, and pastrami is the way to go, she invites Newberg over to her house for a pool party, which then there's this amazing naked pool party happening at her house.
I wanted to stay there. I was like, where did these people come from? They it's not as though a bunch of people congregated at this drive-in and then all went there. This is all insane nonsense happening in different locations. There's a bunch of people at a dance. There's a bunch of people at the pep rally. There's a bunch of people at a drive-in. There's a bunch of people at her house.
Now they're at their naked pool party. Yep. It's all very...
I thought, I really did. When they got to her house and we saw a bunch of naked people in a pool, I really thought that was going to be the climax of the film. Like, everybody was going to show up here and it was all going to go down. But
everybody was going to just, No, that's not, that last, we're away from that pool party. We don't see it again. Yeah. We leave it and it's done. We talked about the piss yellow car and getting the new A-track player. The cops. Again, we're back to the cops. And they just don't leave well enough alone. And they're back at the drive-through. And he goes to the bathroom. The Chubbier cop goes to the bathroom. And before that, Newberg's decided to clog the toilet, like you said. He goes in the bathroom with a newspaper. The bathroom floods like crazy floods.
Just
like,
the toilet does not shut off. It just continues to flood the whole time.
And they've locked the bathroom door. So he's like it's like past his knees. It gets up there, the water.
It's disgusting too, because this actor, and I understand it was a set, not a real bathroom, but he falls on the floor. He puts his hand like on a urinal to help himself up. Yeah.
And then outside, they put the trash back out there.
They dump the garbage out of the trash cans in front of the door.
And it's all, so as soon as he plows out of the door, that's what'll hit. Yes. Even though he tries to climb out, somehow he's left his partner in the car, and he somehow just shouts. Now, mind you, in our film that we watched just recently, Hot to Trot, when our friend got locked in the bathroom where the bathroom had a phone, he couldn't figure a way out. But this guy gets locked in the bathroom, and he shouts to his partner who's sitting in his car, and the partner hears it and is
this is when the partner's drawing a mustache on his own face. So he's just kind of, all the windows are down. I'm sure he can hear everything quite clearly over all the rambunctious teenagers surrounding this cop car. And then he shoots through the door.
Oh, yes.
He help him. He's like, the door's locked, and he just starts shooting at it.
Shooting it, And they get him out, and they roll around in trash, and it's a big hot mess. And then they get back in the car to leave, I guess. They're over it. And that's when Dudley, the nerd guy, falls down and pretends to have a seizure. And
then one guy's like, I'm going to shove my nightstick down his throat. He's like, nope, I'm okay. I'm all right. And everybody cheers. Like, what was this diversion for? It wasn't so that people could get away, because all the same people are still there applauding.
Yep.
I don't get it.
I don't know. And then
the pledges make it to the radio station. They see
right before 2 a.m.
Yeah, they see that doo-wop group. They plead with them. They're like, listen, we're pledges for a car gang. I think that's what they literally call it. Can you get this to the... And, like, the radio station is within sight of it. I mean, they're standing right next to it.
Well, they're also dressed as women, though. Let's keep this in mind. At some point, the pledges find clothes.
Yeah, you're right.
But
do we see that? Do we
ladies'
see
clothes? No.
Okay. All right. I thought I missed that part. I was like,
no.
I do love that, though. I'm like, I thought they had a bunch of sheets. I mean, I know they looked like the KKK, but you could have fashioned those sheets.
You could have wrapped it like a toga.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then
they somehow find these ladies' dresses that they wear, and that is kind of a fun scene where they run into this black doo-wop group, and they smoke a joint with them while they're dressed as women. It's just random and fun.
It's very Kids in the Hall. Yes.
And then
but they convince these guys. They're like, okay, go request this song at 2 a.m. We have to be all the way down at this drive-in and all this.
Oh, because they have to head back to the
yes.
In the meantime, let's see. Tony Danza, they gift the car to the one guy who's leaving for Nam. Tony Danza and Michelle Pfeiffer decide they can work it out. They're going to be okay.
They're going to be okay.
Right?
They're going to be okay. And suddenly, it's as though Robert Wall and Fran Drescher are a couple that have been together for a long time, because she's like, what am I going to do? At the end of this year, I'm going to college.
Yeah.
And he's like, you're just going to UCLA. And I guess that's the joke, but I'm like, are they a couple now?
Now they are. And you don't know why. Like, does she have a funny side? I guess because you don't know. You don't know how they even belong together.
No.
And you don't know, like, he's not, like you said, he kind of looks like it's one thing if he's the prankster and he's like the really good looking prankster of the school. Like you said, he looks like he's 35, and most of what he does are these
very juvenile, middle
very
school
silly
aged.
He moons, yes, lots of mooning, lots of.
Is he the one that moons at the end?
Yes.
So it's a freeze frame on his butt to end this movie.
I think so.
Oh,
I think
my
so.
God.
That is how it ends, right? I mean, did we miss anything? There's when Dudley calls about exploring the boundaries of his manhood.
Right. Yeah, but we talked about
the
that.
two older people get it on again. Yeah.
It's a bunch of things. It's just, you could have just taken this movie and put the scenes in a hat and shook them up and then just
yes,
them
I
out
agree.
randomly.
Yes.
And it would have made as much sense as it did put together the way the filmmaker, I guess, decided to make this.
The layout was weird. The story really wasn't there. The music was okay, but
it was fine, but it was just like you said, like a compilation. Like it was, the music didn't add up to anything. The music didn't relate to anything that was happening in the film.
No.
And the music would always start out to be like diegetic, like somebody turned on their car and it was like, oh, this song's on, and then it just played over other scenes. But I don't know, like characters would come and go, like the surfer guy, like what was his deal?
Yeah.
Why was he there? Where did he go? He's living at the beach and there's no relationship. It's
At one point, Newberg's in the car with him and the surfer guy and his two lady friends, and one of them he goes to grab a hot dog in between her legs or something, or a hamburger, and she dumps a shake on him. Yep. But it goes nowhere. Later, a couple scenes later, he's having sex with Fran Drescher.
Yeah.
It's just weird. It was just so weird.
It really was. It was like, you put a bunch of 15-year-olds in separate rooms and you say, like, write a scene that you think would be funny. And then you just cobble that nonsense together and you make it into a movie.
Well, and then making it a movie, like you said, it's like they shook it up and they were like, all right, whatever scene we do today, we do. It doesn't matter. Or, I mean, not even just when they edited it, it was just like,
that was like the cops were at the drive-in, then they were suddenly at the school, then they were back at the drive-in, then they were at the
house, at the lady's house.
Drinking piss juice, and then they're back at the drive-in, and then they're at the dance, and then they're back at the drive-in. It's like, why?
What's happening?
Why are they running all over the place? Oh, it's terrible.
It's aggravating.
Yeah.
It is. You're aggravated,
I
can tell.
Extremely aggravated by this movie. When this was done, I had to take a few minutes and really wonder if it was worse than Tron or worse than Red Sonja. And I don't know. Like, I literally sat down and went, if I had to watch one again, would I watch this?
Could you?
Or would I watch Red Sonja again? And I still don't know. Because this was really tough to watch.
I agree. Well, but then you had your moments. You had times that you got to see Tony Danza. That kind of brought you out of it.
That may have been 5 minutes, though. Like
I know.
If you took all of his screen time, it was probably 5 minutes. And that's not an exaggeration. Like, it's...
No, I know.
I don't know.
Well, we didn't like this one.
No.
That's for sure. And it's, in one way, I don't recommend it, but in another way, I'm like, but you almost, it is. It's like looking.
It's like a seeing is believing type of movie.
Yes. It's like sometimes I watch those stories that come on about like sad, starving dogs that like they find in the streets. And
okay. Like a pit bulls and parolees sort of thing.
No, because those always have, like, where you know the ending's not going to be good, and you're like, well, I'm just going to watch this anyway because it's just disturbing. Like, the news comes on my phone, sometimes all the time, and sometimes I read the worst articles that are like, I don't know, about a mom that left her kid outside in the cold, and I just want to know, why would you do that, Mom? And this movie is just, how did it get made?
Right.
Anyone? Why? And you're right that it is. Sorry, you had to take a big swig of something. Well, I'm not going to say quite what that was, but it was a big. Oh, it is. It's like a poor man's American Graffiti, is what it is. But it doesn't. But it's
not even that. Like, even comparing it to a movie like that does a huge disservice to American Graffiti.
Uh-huh.
Because this is a movie where, and we've watched other movies like this, definitely, but if I had stumbled upon it, it wouldn't be 5 minutes before I turned it off. Like,
if I didn't have to watch this,
to keep me watching this movie.
I agree. If I didn't have to watch the whole thing for the sake of this podcast, I would not have watched the whole thing. And I just stopped taking notes at a certain point
I really
toward the end
because
I was like, what's happening right now?
Because I would take like these 2-word notes. I'd be like, toilet flooded, mustache marker. And I'd be like, what? These notes don't even make sense. No, but this is what's
movie doesn't
happening.
Make sense. It's Hollywood Nights with a K.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. If you're really looking for it, it's with a K because they're a group.
Yeah, because they're the Knights.
They're a car gang.
Even though it's also happening on the night. Yeah. Right, they are a car gang, I guess. In high school, out of high school, question mark.
Graduated college, have families, maybe.
Yeah, probably actually the one for sure.
All right. Well, I think we should stop. And and I feel bad because I'm like, people, these are our patrons. These are people giving us money. I like to give them big, full, episodes. And I shouldn't feel bad. I know that because we talked this movie to death. But,
there's not much more you could say.
There's not.
No.
So don't watch this movie. This is a bad choice. This is a bad choice.
Yeah, and if you're a Tony Danza fan, you don't get enough. You don't get enough TD.
Well, I would say, and I should say this because, we'll let our patrons in on a little secret in that in December, we will be celebrating Kwanzaa with Tony Danza. So,
and I can't wait.
His only other 2 movies he made in the 80s, Going Ape and She's Out of Control. We will talk those in December, and I could only assume that they are going to be far more entertaining than this.
Leaps and bounds.
Going Ape, I believe he's in that movie with a couple of monkeys. One is an orangutan, and the other
and that's Danny
is
DeVito.
Danny DeVito. Yes. All right.
Yeah.
I think that's it.
Right.
I think we got to go. Thank you for listening.
It.
Thank you for supporting us.
You.
This is
always many thanks.
Wonderful. Yes. And I don't know.
I hope that even if you didn't enjoy the movie, you enjoyed at least this podcast of us talking about the movie.
And also, I just hope you didn't watch the movie. I hope you're one of those people that didn't watch the movie, listen to this. Your life is fine. You're better off for having just put in this hour 15 right now.
We saved you. We saved you. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, everybody. Sure. We will talk to you on a regular episode shortly next week.
That's true. Yeah.
Okay. Bye.
All right. Good night. Bye.
Well, trick or treat.
You're already a treat.
You're already a trick. This doesn't taste right.
Yeah, it's good.
No, it's not right.
Delicious. It's in the punch.
I've had this taste in my mouth before.
Well, it tastes all right to me. Yeah. Hi. Oh, bastards.
I'm just going to ignore them. I'm not paying attention to them.
There's a young man out there. I believe he's looking for somebody called Dick. Is there a Dick here?
I've got it, Nevins. It's Spike. They've spiked the punch.
Stormy, get those officers.
Now, I know this taste.
What seems to be a problem, man?
Officer, taste this. Taste this. Tell me what you think.
It does have a little wang in it. Good, though. Excuse me, mind if I have some more?
No, please.
Thank you. Help yourself. Come on, Nevins.
Bring me a piece of food.